Hello everyone, and welcome to your first tutorial. So in these tutorials we're going to be solving some financial mathematics problems together, and hopefully through these examples you will pick up some skills that will be helpful in your assignments or your exams. So before you look at my solutions, it's very important that you try to solve some of these problems yourself. So without further ado, let's try to solve question 1. So first of all, we're given that we have an interest rate I and a discount rate D, then they're both equivalent. So let's remind ourselves what equivalent rates are. So if I have an I and a D, and they're both equivalent, that means, say for example, at time 0 and time 1, I deposit X amount of dollars at time 0 in a bank, and at time 1 it accumulates to some value because of interest. And if both I and D are both equivalent rates, that means if I apply the interest rate I of the discount rate D, I'm going to accumulate to the same value at time 1. So if I apply the interest rate, or apply the discount rate, I'm going to arrive at the same value at time 1. So this is the amount you have at time 1. So based on this definition, we can cancel out the x, and you'll see that I and D are related by this formula. And then if you do a bit of rearranging, you'll see that I is actually equal to D over 1 minus D, and D is equal to I over 1 plus I. And I actually encourage you to memorize both of these relationships, because these are going to come in very handy for the rest of your course. So with this in mind, let's try to solve question 1. So for question 1, we need to prove that 1 over D minus 1 over I is equal to 1. So let's start with the left-hand side. So I'm going to apply the relationship we had just now. So D is equal to I divided by 1 plus I. So this is going to be 1 plus I over I minus 1 over I. And then obviously this cancels out, so we get I over I, which is equal to 1. So we've proven part A. So part A was simple enough. So let's move on to part B. So part B, we have D times 1 over I divided by 2. So let's try to get rid of the D. So we apply, once again, the same conversion formulas. And looking back at the question, you see we have an I outside, right? So let's try to move the I, the 1 over 1 plus I, inside of the bracket. So we get something like this. So looking back at the original problem, we're going to hope that this expression here is equal to this expression. So let's try to express everything in terms of D. So 1 over 1 plus I, what is that equal to? So by the definition of equivalent rates, we know that 1 plus I is equal to 1 over 1 minus D, right? So 1 over 1 plus I, that's just 1 minus D. And then I over 1 plus I, that's just equal to this conversion formula, which is just D, right? So we have a minus D plus 1 half D, right? So that's just 1I times 1 minus D over 2. And there we have it, we've proved part B. And moving on to part C, we have I times the square root of 1 minus D. So once again, we apply the conversion formula. So you see that this is very useful, so that's why I highly recommend you memorize this formula. So let's just subtract the fractions. The i's, they cancel out. So in the end, you get something like this. So I'm going to multiply this expression by the square root of 1 plus I divided by the square root of 1 plus I. So this is just 1, right? So that's why I can multiply it by this expression. Well, the denominators, they combine together to form I over 1 plus I. The square root, I'm just going to keep it. And then once again, the conversion formula. You see that this is actually just equal to D times 1 plus I. And there we have it. So that is just part C. So there we've proved it. So that is question 1.